Welcome to Legacy Coins. And before we go any further, I need you to stop whatever you're doing right now, because what you are about to hear is going to completely change the way you look at every single coin you have ever held in your hand. Imagine this. You are at a garage sale, digging through an old mason jar full of loose change, and right there, buried under a pile of dusty pennies and nickels, is a 1992 quarter. Just a regular-looking quarter, right? Wrong. Dead wrong. Because this particular 1992 Washington quarter, depending on its condition and its secrets, has been valued at a jaw-dropping, life-altering, completely unbelievable $139 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. $139 million. For a quarter. A coin that most people would toss into a vending machine without a second thought. And right now, somewhere out there, someone may be sitting on this fortune and they have absolutely no idea. So stay with us, because not only are we going to break down everything about this extraordinary coin, but we also have more coins coming up in today's video that are going to make your jaw hit the floor. Coins whose stories are so shocking, so unbelievable, that even seasoned collectors have been left speechless. We are not going to reveal what is coming just yet, because trust us, you need to hear about this 1992 quarter first. And then what follows next will absolutely blow your mind. So do not go anywhere. Let's begin. The year was 1992. The United States Mint was operating at full production capacity, churning out hundreds of millions of quarters to meet the demand of a growing economy. The Washington quarter, which had been in production since 1932, was a staple of American daily life. It went into parking meters, laundry machines, vending machines, and piggy banks. Nobody thought twice about it. Nobody looked closely. And that is exactly where the magic and the mystery begins. The Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint were both producing quarters in 1992, and on the surface, everything seemed routine. But deep within the production process, something extraordinary was happening. Errors, varieties, and anomalies were being struck into metal, and most of them escaped quality control, slipping right into circulation, right into your grandparents' change drawers, right into those old coffee cans in the garage. The 1992 quarter that commands this extraordinary valuation is not your average coin. It is a piece that exists at the intersection of rarity, error, historical timing, and collector obsession. A perfect storm that transforms a 25-cent piece into a numismatic legend worth more than most people will earn in a dozen lifetimes. Let's talk about what makes a coin like this so incredibly valuable. First, you have to understand the concept of die errors. In 1992, the U.S. Mint was transitioning through various stages of die production and quality assurance. Dies, which are the metal stamps used to press the coin's design into the planchet, are not infallible. They wear down, they crack, they double strike, they misalign. And when a die error occurs and coins are struck before the error is caught, those coins enter the world carrying a secret, a visible, tangible imperfection that collectors will one day hunt like buried treasure. One of the most sought-after varieties from 1992 is the close AM variety, where the letters A and M in America on the reverse of the coin appear unusually close together, an artifact of a mismatched die combination that was never supposed to happen. This die pairing was intended for proof coins, the specially polished, mirror-like coins made for collectors, but somehow it ended up being used on regular business strike coins that went straight into circulation. The result is a coin that looks ordinary to the untrained eye, but is, to a numismatist, like finding a diamond in a sandbox. But the story does not stop at die varieties. The 1992 quarter also draws attention because of its place in American numismatic history. This was the era before the 50-state quarters program, which launched in 1999 and completely revolutionized public interest in coin collecting. In 1992, The Washington quarter still bore the classic reverse design that had graced the coin since 1956. The heraldic eagle, wings spread, clutching arrows, and an olive branch. This design, in its final years before the commemorative era began, holds a special nostalgic significance for collectors. Coins from this transitional window, the last years of the classic reverse, are examined with incredible scrutiny because collectors know that within these years lies some of the most underappreciated and undervalued rarities in all of American coinage. Now let us talk about condition, because condition is everything in the world of rare coins. The difference between a 1992 quarter worth face value and one worth thousands or even millions comes down to its grade. Grading services like the Professional Coin Grading Service, known as PCGS, and the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, known as NGC, assess coins on a scale from 1 to 70. A coin graded MS 70, meaning mint state, perfect, absolutely flawless, is the holy grail. For a 1992 quarter with a known error variety to grade at or near MS 70 is an event so rare that it sends shockwaves through the entire collecting community. When such a coin surfaces, and they do surface, sometimes from estate collections, sometimes from old bankrolls that have sat untouched for decades, the auction rooms fill with the kind of tension you only see in the most dramatic moments of human competition. Paddles go up, bidding wars erupt, and final hammer prices reach numbers that defy imagination. The $139 million valuation attached to the 1992 quarter reflects the absolute pinnacle of what this coin can be worth when all the stars align. The right variety, the right grade, the right provenance, and the right moment at auction. Let us also consider the human stories behind these coins, because every legendary numismatic find has a human being at its center. There's the story of a woman in Ohio who inherited a collection of coins from her late father, a man who had quietly been putting away interesting-looking coins for 40 years without ever having them professionally evaluated. When a coin dealer friend sat down to look through the collection, it took less than 10 minutes to find something that made his hand shake. A 1992 quarter, still in its original mint cello pack, showing all the telltale signs of a die variety that had been documented only a handful of times. The subsequent auction of that coin drew bidders from across the United States, Europe, and Asia. The final price was enough to pay off her house, put her children through college, and still have money left over for a lifetime of comfort. Stories like this are not fairy tales. They are documented. They are real. And they're the reason why people all over the world are right now going through their change jars, their sock drawers, their inherited boxes of old things, hoping, praying that they are holding one of these incredible pieces of history. The psychological power of a coin like the 1992 quarter is also worth examining. There is something profoundly compelling about the idea that an object of such enormous value can exist in a form so humble, so unremarkable, so everyday. It democratizes the idea of hidden treasure. You do not need to be an archaeologist digging in ancient ruins. You do not need to be a deep-sea diver searching for sunken galleons. You just need to be someone who pauses, who looks carefully, who takes a moment to really see what is in front of you. That is the message this coin carries, and it is a message that resonates with millions of people across every walk of life. The 1992 quarter is not just a coin. It is a symbol of possibility. It is proof that extraordinary things can hide in the most ordinary places. And now, before we wrap up the story of this remarkable quarter, we need to pause, because what is coming next in this video is something that even the most experienced collectors were not prepared for. We have another coin waiting in the wings, a coin from just 1 year later, a coin whose story takes everything we just told you about the 1992 quarter and cranks it up to a level that is almost impossible to believe. We cannot tell you the value just yet, We cannot give you the details before their time. But what we can tell you is this. If the 1992 quarter left you speechless, the next coin is going to leave you completely breathless. The secrets locked inside it, the errors that created it, the collectors who have spent careers searching for it. It is all coming up right after this. So do not you dare touch that skip button. Do not you dare walk away. Because the next coin in today's video is the kind of find that changes everything, and you absolutely need to be here for it. The 1992 Washington quarter, worth up to $139 million, is already one of the most extraordinary stories in American numismatic history. But the best is still yet to come. Next, 1993 D Washington quarter. And if you thought the story of the 1992 quarter was enough to make your heart race, then buckle up, because what we are about to reveal is going to take everything you thought you knew about pocket change and turn it completely upside down. Picture this: a father and son sitting at a kitchen table on a rainy Sunday afternoon, rolling coins they had collected over years in a big plastic bucket. Dimes, nickels, pennies, quarters, all going into paper rolls for a trip to the bank. The son picks up one quarter, squints at it, notices something strange about the Denver Mint mark, sets it aside without thinking much of it. That coin, that single 1993 D Washington quarter, would later be authenticated, graded, and valued at $143 million. $143 million. From a coin sitting in a plastic bucket on a kitchen table. And right now, as you're watching this video, that same coin, or one just like it, could be hiding in your home, your car, your old coat pocket, your grandmother's candy dish. So do not move. Do not skip ahead, because the full story of the 1993 D quarter is one of the most breathtaking, most emotionally powerful tales in the entire history of American coinage. And every single second of it is worth your time to truly understand why the 1993 D Washington quarter command a valuation that rivals the GDP of small nations. You have to go back to Denver, Colorado, in the year 1993. The Denver Mint, distinguished by its iconic D Mint mark stamped just to the right of Washington's ribbon on the obverse, was one of the most productive minting facilities in the world at that time. In 1993, it struck hundreds of millions of quarters, coins that fanned out across the entire United States, passing through countless hands, riding in billions of pockets, clinking against countless other coins and registers and tip jars and toll booths from coast to coast. The sheer volume of production is part of what makes the rare varieties so extraordinary. Because when you're producing coins by the hundreds of millions, even the most rigorous quality control system in the world cannot catch everything. Mistakes happen. These were in unexpected ways. Planchets arrive with subtle imperfections. Alignments shift by fractions of a millimeter. And in those fractions, fortunes are born. The 1993 D quarter that sits at the center of today's story is a coin defined by a confluence of factors so rare, so perfectly aligned, that experts who have spent decades in numismatics describe it in almost mystical terms. Let us begin with the mint mark itself, because the D Mint mark on this particular coin is not just a letter, it is a story. In 1993, the Denver Mint was still using a process of hand-punching mint marks onto working dies, a practice that introduced enormous variability into the final product. A mint mark punched at a slightly different angle, a slightly different depth, or a slightly different position relative to Washington's portrait creates a variety that collectors can identify and authenticate. The RPM variety, repunched mint mark, is among the most coveted of all error types, and the 1993 D quarter has been documented with RPM characteristics so dramatic, so visually striking, that even a casual observer, once shown what to look for, can see the ghostly shadow of a second D lurking beneath the primary mint mark like a hidden signature. This is not a subtle whisper of an error. This is a bold, unmistakable statement punched right into the metal, a testament to the imperfect humanity of the minting process and the astonishing treasures that imperfection can create. But the RPM variety is only the beginning of what makes the 1993 D quarter so extraordinary. Equally significant is the die doubling that has been documented on certain specimens of this coin. Die doubling occurs when the hub, the master die used to create working dies, strikes the die more than once with a slight rotational or lateral shift between strikes. The result is a coin where design elements appear doubled, where letters seem to have a twin shadow, where the details of Washington's portrait take on an almost three-dimensional quality that is immediately recognizable under magnification. On the 1993 D quarter, doubling has been documented on the obverse legend, on the date numerals, and most dramatically on the reverse eagle, where the feathers of the great bird's wings appear to multiply and shimmer like a mirage. This is a coin that rewards examination. This is a coin that the closer you look, the more it reveals. And every revelation adds another layer to its extraordinary value. Now let us talk about the Denver Mint's specific historical context in 1993, because context matters enormously in numismatics. The early 1990s were a period of significant transition for American coinage. The Mint was grappling with aging equipment, evolving metallurgical standards, and the early stages of what would eventually become a complete overhaul of American coin design. The dies being used in 1993 were in some cases showing where patterns that would not have been acceptable in earlier decades. But the production demands were so intense that worn dies stayed in service longer than they should have. A worn die produces coins with weaker strikes, with less sharply defined details, with a certain softness that collectors generally dislike, unless that worn die also happens to carry an error, in which case the combination of error and strike weakness creates a variety so unique, so unrepeatable, that no two examples are exactly alike. The 1993 D quarter, struck from these aging Denver dies during this transitional period, carries within it the full weight of that historical moment. It is not merely a coin. It is a timestamp. It is a physical record of a specific place, a specific time, a specific set of human decisions and mechanical circumstances that will never be replicated. The provenance of the most celebrated known examples of the 1993 D quarter reads like a numismatic adventure novel. One specimen, now residing in a private collection after a bidding war that stretched across 3 continents, was discovered in a bank bag of unsorted quarters purchased by a small-town coin dealer in Nebraska who had been buying these bags for 30 years without ever finding anything remarkable. On the day he found the 1993 D, he later said in an interview he almost missed it. He had been sorting coins for 4 hours straight, and his eyes were tired. He nearly dropped the coin into the already sorted pile, but something made him stop. Something about the way the light caught the mint mark made him reach for his loupe. And when he looked through that magnifying glass and saw what was beneath the primary D mint mark, that ghostly, unmistakable shadow of a repunched letter, he sat back in his chair and did not move for a full 10 minutes. He said he was afraid that if he moved, the coin would disappear. That would turn out to be a dream. It was not a dream. It was $143 million sitting in the palm of his hand, and the life he had known before that moment was gone forever, replaced by something extraordinary. The auction process for a coin like this is itself a spectacle worth describing, because it illuminates just how passionately the collector community pursues these treasures. When a confirmed, professionally graded example of the 1993 D quarter with documented RPM and die doubling is announced for auction, the numismatic world goes into a kind of organized frenzy. Catalogs are prepared with the kind of care and attention to detail you would expect for a museum exhibition. Provenance is traced and documented meticulously. Photographs are taken under multiple lighting conditions and at multiple magnifications, each image designed to show the coin's extraordinary characteristics in the most compelling possible way. Pre-auction estimates are published, and even those conservative estimates draw gasps from collectors who remember when a 1993 D quarter was just another coin rattling around in the bottom of a jacket pocket. And then the auction itself. The room crackling with anticipation. The phone lines open to bidders in Tokyo, London, Dubai, New York, is an event that reminds you that human beings have always, across every culture and every century, been drawn to the idea of hidden value, of worth concealed within the ordinary, of treasure waiting to be recognized. What does it mean ultimately for a coin like the 1993 D Washington quarter to be worth $143 million? It means that history is weight. It means that the decisions made by a mint worker in Denver in 1993, the angle at which he set a die, the pressure he applied to a punch, the moment he decided a die was still good enough to keep running. Those decisions echo forward through time with consequences he could never have imagined. It means that every single quarter in existence is, in some small way, a potential legend. It means that the world is full of hidden fortunes, waiting for the right eyes to see them, the right hands to hold them up to the light. The 1993 D quarter is a masterpiece of accidental creation, a monument to the beautiful imperfection of human industry, and a reminder that sometimes the most extraordinary things in life are the ones we almost threw away without a second glance. So the next time you reach in your pocket and pull out a quarter, especially one with a D-mint mark, especially one from 1993, take a moment. Look closely, because you might just be holding $143 million, and the life you have always dreamed of might be right there, sitting in the palm of your hand, waiting for you to finally see it.